So, 2025 Lions is just around the corner. And so in the latest episode of Offloading with Dafydd James, we thought we'd talk a little bit about this crop of players and what the ambitions and prospects should be for Australia in 2025. First of all, Dav, good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, great to see you. Great to be back, Paul. Yeah, I'm all okay, thank you.
Good, mate. Good. So 2025 Lions. First question, I guess. Itoje as captain. What's your view on that? An Englishman as captain, does that bring people together?
Well, in my day, it was Marty Johnson, so it's like for like, really, isn't it? I think he's probably the best option. I thought Keelan Doris would have been the captain if he didn't get injured that last couple of matches, whatever it was. I think he put his shoulder out or something. Yeah. So, which is disappointing for him, but that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But I think Maro Itoje, he's got a wealth of talent, experience. He's been around for a number of years. He's been on previous Lions tours, and I think he'd be fit for purpose. And I think, I've gone through the squad and I thought, frickin' heck, there's some talented guys on the team sheet. Yeah. So it's when I say team, the collective. It's exciting for the Lions, exciting for them boys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we talk about some of the people that have been included that might have raised eyebrows, is there anybody that you think should be on the plane that isn't?
I think the young lad White, the scrum half, the Scotland scrum half, has played really well this year, and he probably feels a little bit aggrieved. And I think it was, I thought he'd get the nod over Thomas Williams, but Thomas Williams has had a wonderful season. I haven't watched many of his games, but apparently he's had a wonderful season. We've lost a player of the tour, player of the season, I think, in it, or player of the season or something. So, look. It's horses for courses, really. So I'd probably say that Blair, is it Blair White, the scrum half for Scotland, is the guy I think is probably feeling a little bit, but a lot can happen. You know what I mean? If you don't make it, it's not all doom and gloom, because there will be, it's inevitable. There will be a couple of injuries. There'll be a couple of call ups. So you just got to keep your guard, keep positive, and just think to yourself, well, okay. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I think that's what the way you would address it, really.
What about there's a bit of controversy, isn't there, about the wingers? I'm thinking about James Lowe and Mac Hansen, who obviously aren't British by birth. And I think James Lowe played an Australian representative game. And there's a little bit of sort of controversy about that. Does that matter?
Well, I listen to Willie John McBride, the legend as he is, and I tended to agree with some of the things he said, actually. And you think, it should be, homegrown talent. But look, these guys are trying to test it. This is the nature of the game now, and if you qualify for the country, and why shouldn't you? I don't know. There's a pro and con to everything, but Matt Hansen, I'm surprised, because he hasn't played the last 5-6 weeks, I think it was, wasn't it, prior to the tour? And but when he has played, he's been good, and Lowe is a powerful character. He always seems to score, and he's got that left booming boot, isn't he? So look, these guys are picked. You've got to be picked on merit. And obviously, when you look at Faz, he's watched them prior to the selection period. It's the same with the boy Tuipulotu in the centre for Scotland. He's been out since January, I think it is, with the torn pec injury, and hasn't played. And you think, oh, is that a bit risky? And I didn't think he'd get the nod. However, at the start of the season, he burst onto the scene for Glasgow, and he was unreal. He looked fantastic. He was clear. He looked sharp. You could see that he had the Lions, in his grasp. And he's another player that's grown up, I think, in Australia. I think he grew up in Australia? I think. Yeah. But look, we can go into the nitty gritty, but I think you've just got to buy into it and say, look, this is the collective. This is four nations coming together. This is the best that the British and Irish Isles can put together, and they're going to play Australia. So, all well and good, and congratulations to the boys that have been selected.
100%. And of course, in your time, there was a Namibian who played in all 3 Test matches against Australia. So
So a Zambian, but I don't know about
Zambian.
Namibian. But yeah, so African, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you look at it's yeah. Look, I was born abroad, and then parents. I grew up in Wales. Really, my mum and dad are Welsh as they can be. Really, you haven't seen my mum and dad, but yeah. So it's no, it's all. It is what it is. Really, let's just get behind them and let's see how successful the tour goes.
100%, 100%. Would you have took Farrell?
That's it. That was a tricky one, actually, and I thought he might have opted for him. And I'm not saying that he won't. Faz is a talisman. He's a hard-nosed individual. He's been there, he's done it, and he does lead by example. And sometimes, when the going gets tough, you need players like him to amalgamate the team and pull them together. But when you look at the outside halves or inside centre sort of thing, you've got Tuipulotu, you've got Bundyaki, and you look at the tens, you've got Finn Russell, Finn Smith, and Marcus Smith.
Yeah.
Possibly he may have snuck in there. Really, are they a bit lightweight on the defensive sort of side? I don't know. That's debatable. But I suppose Marcus Smith can cover the 15 channel as well. It's horses for courses. I'm pretty sure that his dad Faz Senior would have looked into Andy and said, right, what are the permutations? Where can we put this player, that player, and so on. So a lot of prep goes into it.
Yeah. So we talked about perhaps some of the surprise omissions. What would you say were the surprise inclusions?
2 Welsh players. I'm only joking.
I want to talk about that specifically.
I'm joking. That was tongue in cheek, so please don't get that the wrong way. But look, we've been bloody awful, and it's fair to say, look, I thought, and I'll be truthful, I thought, look, you can't not have any Welsh players in the thing, right? The whole thing, it goes away from the values of what it's all about. However, it was hard to go, oh, this player stands out, that player stands out. I thought, I'll be quite honest, Kelleher getting in the Irish second hooker, if you like, getting in. I was surprised with that. I thought Dewi Lake possibly could have come into it, but he didn't do himself any favour when he come back from a big injury. So I thought he may have been an outside bet, Dewi Lake. But then I also thought when Keelan Doris went down, I thought, well, Talope Faletau, another one who's been there, done it, may have snuck in. Wouldn't have played in the test, I don't believe, but you never know when you get there. But, as another sort of senior player, bang. But there's a plethora of back row players. There's a lot of talent there. You look at the young lad Pollock that's just come through. You look at Van der Fleer, you look at Conan. Who's going on there? Byrne, is it Tad Byrne? There's a lot of players, a lot of positional options there, really. So, yeah, it was difficult, but I think it's a true reflection on the way Wales have been the last couple of years, if I'm honest. And it should be a wake-up call to the Welsh Rugby Union, the Welsh clubs, the system, all is not well. Yeah. When was the last time Wales ever had 2 players going on a British and Irish Lions? I can't recall it. You know what I mean? And if you go back through the history, I'm pretty sure this is the lowest number we've ever had. And I think, you're English, I'm Welsh, we get on with good mates, and I think it's not good for the game that Wales are in this sort of dire state. It's awful for us. So I know we can have banter with your cousins, your Celtic cousins, and you just go, we need a stronger Wales. We need a strong team for the economy and the people as a whole. Believe it or not, it does. It's more than just a game here.
Yeah.
So it's quite disappointing, really. But true reflection, it is what it is. You've got to go with it. So,
how do you think that sort of affects the balance of the culture of the team, if you like? Because obviously you'll always get quite a few English boys in. Certainly in the last 20 years, there's quite a lot of English boys who tended to sort of dominate. Obviously, there's a lot of Irish. Everybody expected a lot of Irish with Faz being the Irish coach. There's some standout Scots. So, are the 2 Welsh boys going to be on the periphery always? I can't necessarily see Jack in the starting 15, but maybe Thomas might be.
this is the thing, and I can only look from my perspective, really, and it's difficult because when I went on the trip in 2001, I was on standby 97, didn't get on there. Okay, didn't go on the trip eventually, but 2001 had my chance, and I was written off. Written off. Now, you can go on the trip and you can go, yeah, okay, I'm picking up the t-shirt, the bag, and the freaking, the paycheck and whatever. Or you go on there and say, right, that was the easy bit. Now's the hard bit.
Right.
So, and sometimes that's about convincing the coaching team, wow, work ethic, how you perform in the game, because you will get an opportunity. And I think such is the way that rugby is now, and it's a 23-man game, and they rotate players and yada yada. So it's not just that's your 15, off you go. If in 2001 it was told that we went to Western Australia and I wasn't picked in the first, and historically back in the day, it was your strongest team starts, set the tone of the tour, bang, off you go. I wasn't even in the 23, right? And I was like, shit.